Good day, grade 12s, and welcome to today's video. This is a special one. It's going to be a little longer than normal, but that's because I've been provided, as I requested, with one of the September trial papers that I got from another school. Okay, so we're going to go through that. This video is going to consist of 3 questions focused on Microsoft Word, 1 on Excel, 1 on database, and then I'm going to finish up with HTML. So please don't forget to check the description. I've got a link to my Google Drive in there. If you go into the grade 12 folder, you'll see a new folder that's popped up there that says Special Prac, and in there is the question paper and the data files of exactly what I'm going to go through today. Okay, so like I said, it's going to be a longer video, but I've got it broken up into chapters. So if you want to go and look at each particular question, you can just check on the chapters. The whole breakdown will be in the description as well. So without further ado, let's get into our paper. Right, so here we have a scenario, and what they're basically saying is that you as a CAT learner, you've been asked by the district to put together a proposed eSport event that's going to be taking place throughout your district. And Word then starts from question number 2 here, saying that they've got a document that you need to modify. Okay, so here they've given us some instructions. Let's go ahead and open this document to Rise of Esports. We can go to our data folder and open that Word document. All right, so while we're opening that, let's look at the first couple of instructions. The first one says format the heading, and there's what you need to do. You need to choose a particular font style, size, and make it bold. And then for an extra mark, they want you to make sure that the alignment is center as well. Okay, so let's go to our Word document. There's our heading. We're going to highlight it. And I think the first thing we're going to do is just make it, sort of the alignment and make sure that that's in the center. Then, again, we're looking at the easiest things to do. Make it bold. We need to change the font style to Bookman Old Style, and change the font size to 25. But the one thing you'll see is that there is no 25. So when you don't see that particular number that you want over here, please just go in to the actual numbers over there and erase everything and just type in the one that you actually want. Okay? And in that way, you'll get the particular font size that you need. All right, let's go back to our paper and see what else we need to do. Okay, so this one now wants us to use this image, which is the South African flag over here, and insert the logo so that it appears, and this is our first clue, behind the heading. So it's going to go behind the text, and it's sized 7 by 14 centimeters exactly. That's also giving us another clue as to what we need to do. So we're going to go insert, we're going to go to our pictures, this device, and obviously you will navigate to your data folder, and you'll select your particular picture. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to wrap text. Again, when I click on the picture format, wrap text, I'm going to go behind the text because that's what I need to do. Then I need to change the size. So in the same menu, I'm going to go all the way over to the right hand side, check on the size. I can see the size is not correct, but if I just change it here, it's going to automatically adjust to different sizes. And the reason for that is if I go to this advanced little tag over here, I can see in this layout dialog box, if I go down to the bottom to scale, it says lock aspect ratio. So it's going to keep adjusting everything according to the particular aspect ratio. So I want to take the tick out there. I want to click OK. And then what did they say? 7 by 14. So how do I know which one is the height and the width? Well, 14 is longer, so that's going to pertain to the width. 7 centimeters is going to pertain to the height. So my height over here is going to be 7. My width is going to be 14, and there I go. Right? Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my picture, and I'm going to move it sort of into the center to where I want it to be. What else do they want me to do? I've put it behind the text. I've done it 7 by 14 exactly. It looks like that. Everything's fine. Okay. So I'm just going to move this other text down, and there we have it. Okay. So now I've already got 3, 4, 5, 6 marks. Please bear in mind, that you usually work on a 1 mark per minute sort of ratio. But obviously that would mean that your paper would have to be out of 180, and you would be writing a 3-hour paper. If you are writing a 3-hour paper and you know your paper's only like out of 150, obviously that's in your favor because you have more time on hand. Okay, so let's continue. The next one, 2.2, says insert the file path in the header and ensure that it does not display on the first page. And then they want you to add page number into the footer in the format page X of Y. Now please, 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 when you see page X of Y, I know there are those of you who actually go into the footer and you go and type in page X of Y. Please don't do that. It doesn't work, okay? You're going to get it wrong. You're going to lose those marks. So please, they are not asking you to type in page X of Y. I'll show you what they're actually asking you to do. So let's look at insert the file path in the header. Now, I'm assuming that they're referring to this picture. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to go up here because we know that this is our header section. We can go into insert. We're going to go to header, and our header will then open. Well, we'll choose one. Now, they haven't told us which one. Okay, so I'm going to use any one. And you can see my headers over there. Now, I can go and type in, you know, anything I want to. And when I close it, obviously I know that that's my header section. Okay, so maybe I just want to move this picture down a little bit. Move the text down as well, just so that you can see the header nice and clearly. Okay, so yeah, okay, now everything's still looking fine. So there's my header, but is that what they wanted? No, they wanted you to insert the file path into the header. So let's assume we need to have the file path of this picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my data files. I'm going to go to that particular picture, which was the MSSA logo. And I'm going to right click on here because I want to show you something. Okay. You can see if I use just my normal right click, there's nothing here that can sort of help me. Okay. However, if I press down the shift key on the keyboard, if I keep that down and I right click on the same picture, here's something that comes up. I want you to see this. There. It says copy as path. Let me show you again. If I right click on it normally, there's nothing like that that comes up. However, when I click on the picture, keep down the shift button on the keyboard and right click on that picture, then I get an option that says copy as path. So if I click on that, go back to my header, and I paste that in there, look at that. There's the whole file path, okay? Now, we can do the same when it comes to, you know, different files. We can do it there again, copy as path. So if they ever ask you to do that, please remember it's going to be shift before you right click on that particular file. Okay, but now guys, they don't want me to have this displayed on the first page. Okay, so I'm going to remove this now that we know how to do it. Just going to take all that away and pretend like I don't have a header at all. Okay, so what I should have done and what you are going to do is you're going to go to the end of the first page. Okay, because remember, they don't want the header to display on the first page. So I'm going to go here to the end of the first page. I'm going to go insert. Am I going to? No, I can go layout. Yeah, layout, breaks, and I'm going to go page break. Okay, so I click on page break. It takes me over to the next page. Doesn't do anything major, it would seem. Okay, but pay attention to the following now. When I now want to insert my header, I can go insert, I can go to my header, choose any one, and again, I'm just gonna, paste that file path, and I say close header. Is it on the first page? Yes, it is. Okay, but this is where the difference comes in. When I go to my second page now, and I click inside there, and I open up my header section, and I put a tick in different first page. Did you see that movement? Something happened. Now when I go close header and footer, and I scroll up to the top of my document, oh wait, there's nothing there. Now, why is that? Simply because I put in a page break, which means that whatever formatting I've done on this side to the headers, it must not apply to the top. And that's why once I said different first header, it now takes that out of that page, and it only keeps it on the pages going forward here. So if I've got 10 pages from page 2 all the way down, it'll be on all those pages. What else are they asking me to do? So I've done that. Add page numbering to the footer in the format page X of Y. So let's go to the first one, and we're going to go insert again. We're not going to go footer, ladies and gentlemen, not footer, please. They said page number. Now, why can't I use a footer? Well, if I go to footer, do you see an option that says page X of Y? There's that one that sort of comes close, but it's not what we are looking for. However, when I go to page number and say bottom of the page, which is where my footer is, and I go down, look at that. There's 3 different options for page X of Y. X of Y simply means it'll be in the format of page 1 of 2, 1 of 3, 1 of however many there are. Okay, so I'm going to choose the last one, and there we go. Close my header and footer. Okay, so now you'll see at the end of your first page, you'll have page 1 of 4, which is your page X of Y. But when you scroll down to your second page, you actually won't see that. The reason for that is because of the page break that we've inserted. So if you wanted to display on the other pages, like page 2, etc., you would have to go, you'd have to click inside page 2 and again go insert, page number, bottom of the page, and then your page X of Y. So once you do that, then on page 2, it'll show up. And you'll see, even if I go down to page 3, just scrolling down, there it'll be page 3 of 4, and then page 4 of 4. Okay, so please remember, if you start that page number at the bottom of page 1 and it doesn't show up on page 2, you have to do the same process inside page 2, and then it'll appear. And that's simply because of the page break that we inserted. Okay. So now they want us to add an image, insert the image eSport 1 below the paragraph that starts with from a social standpoint. So let's go down here. Let's see where we are. From a social standpoint, they want us to insert a picture. So we're going to go insert, picture, this device, and there's our picture, eSport 1. Okay. Now, what do they want us to do to this? And add a soft edge rectangle picture style. That's all. So we just inserted, we go up to our picture format, we go to our picture styles, and we literally move our mouse across until it gives us the answer. Look at that. Moved it across there. Soft edge rectangle. Is that what they wanted? Soft edge rectangle. There we are. Okay. Have we done that? Click on it. That's fine. Okay. We don't have to do anything more to that. Moving on, last little section over here on 2.4, format the text as follows. They want us now to replace all instances of the word eSport with eSport. And you can see the only difference is the capital S. Format the replaced words as bold and green. Okay, so we can go anywhere in our text here and we can go replace. So what are we looking for? We are looking for eSports. And we want to replace it with E capital S sports. But that's not where it ends, is it? No. Because they want us to make it bold and green. So for that, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to go to more. I'm going to go all the way down to format. And then I'm going to select font. This now allows me to choose a number of formatting items that I can apply to my words. So this will only apply to the words that you are going to replace with. Okay, so these ones that have the capital S, the formatting will apply to them. My color, I can choose green. Remember, they didn't say what particular, type of green. So I can choose any of those greens. And they want it to be bold. And there you can see what it's going to look like. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to say replace all. They tell me all done. We've made 19 replacements, and I click OK and I close. And there you can see now esports. Every time it's mentioned, that's what it looks like. Okay, let's move on. Replace the bulleted list with a customized bullet using the game controller image provided. So let's go to where the bulleted list is, and it's over there. So first thing you want to do, you just want to highlight that whole section. We then want to go up to our paragraph section under our home tab. We want to look for bullets. Click on the little down arrow, and I'm going to go down to define new bullet. Once I've clicked on that, I can select either to replace the existing bullet with a symbol, picture, or font. In this case, I want to replace it with a picture. Work offline because I'm looking for my data folder. In my data folder, there's the picture, game controller. There it's giving me a little preview. I click OK, and that has been changed. Okay, so please, folks, remember we're highlighting first, then go into bullets, define new bullet, and then we can select picture and decide, just follow the instructions basically on what they want us to enter. Then they want us to correct the spelling mistake. Now, I saw earlier as I scrolled up, there was a spelling mistake, right? If you don't know exactly where the spelling mistake is, remember we can just go to the review tab, click spelling and grammar, and they will bring up all the different errors, and we can choose whether we are going to ignore something once, whether we are going to ignore all of it, whether we are going to change it. Here they give us different options, but we can go through that until the spelling and grammar check is complete. Okay, so that's done. Then lastly, they want us to add a link to the word year. Now, where's the word year? The word year is here. Okay, so there's here. We are now here. Thank you. Right, add a link to it that will direct the reader to the MSSA website. Okay, so all we want to do is highlight here, over here, right? And we're going to go to insert, and we're going to look for hyperlink under the links section. If you're on 2019, it does show up as link, not hyperlink, but I know other versions do say hyperlink. Click on that. Then it brings us a dialog box that asks us very simple questions, people. Very simple questions. Do we want to link to a web page? What's the instruction saying? Add a link to the word here in the last sentence of the document that will direct the reader to the MSSA website, and there's the address to use. So I'm just going to right click. I'm just going to go into that, select web page. I don't need to look in anywhere here. So just make sure that is selected, and then at the bottom you'll type in the address. Now, do they give us the address? Yes. www.mind, what is it? Mindsportsa. Mindsportsa.co.za. All right, and then all we do is click OK. And you can see how that's changed. Now there's even a little message coming up that's saying if we press Control on our keyboard, look what happens to the cursor. It changes. I click on it, and that then takes me to the Mind Sports South Africa website. Okay, so that's it for question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. It says an informational document on how to get into esports in South Africa has been created to hand out to learners. Open the document, how to get into esports in South Africa, and make the following changes. So let's go and open this document, how to get into esports in South Africa. And let's go look at the question paper. Right, it says modify the page setup as follows. These are basic things that they want us to do. Set the orientation to portrait and the paper size to A4. So remember, I'm going to go to my layout tab, go to orientation. You can see it's on landscape. I'm going to select portrait. You can see how it begins to move. And my size, I'm going to change to A4. Okay, so that's generally what the normal layout looks like. So we've done that. That's 2 marks done. Then they want us to insert the cover page view master. So let's go and add in our cover page, insert cover page. Let's see if I have this particular one. View master. No, I don't. Okay. Please, this can be a problem on some pieces that might not have that particular one. So please do let your invigilator or teacher, whoever is there with you, know what's actually happening, because generally they will then tell you to use another cover page. So I'm just going to take any one. I'm just going to use banded just for the purpose of this video. And then they want us to add the title Esports in South Africa. So Esports in South Africa. Right, to the document, title placeholder on the cover page. Okay, so that's fine. But again, just be aware, you need to see if that particular cover page is even there for you. All right, the next one, insert a blank page after the cover page. So I can go to my cover page here. In fact, just after that, and click in the next page, and I can go insert, and there you see blank page. Boom, there's my blank page. So there's my cover page, there's my blank page, and there's the start of the text in the document. Now, why do they want a blank page? Well, here they tell us. Insert a blank page after the cover page and insert an automatic table of contents. So I hate saying these things, but anyway, let me just spit it out. Just by inserting the blank page, you get 1 mark. The other mark you get for putting in the automatic table of contents. Now, please don't type it out, because we as teachers can see what you've done. You have to actually go and insert a proper automatic table of contents. So you go up to your references tab, click on table of contents, and they haven't said which one they want. So you can click on any one of them, and there you've got your automatic table of contents. Now, how do I know it is? One, because when I click on it, it gives me all this information, the border, all these options here, and that tells me it's an automatic table of contents. All right, let's move on. 3.4, modify the title style to the stencil font and a red font color, and apply the style to the heading, how to get into esports in South Africa. So let's go and check out the heading, and I'm going to highlight that heading. All right, I'm going to go to the home tab, and I'm going to look for the title style. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to click modify. Okay, so they want me to modify it to the stencil font and a red font color. Okay, so we're going to go to formatting here. We're going to go and look for stencil. Stencil, there we go. And the red font color. So I can go over here and change that to red. And when I click OK, and I now, there we go, apply it, that's what my heading is going to look like. Okay. So I hope you're still with me. You've seen what's happening here. And let's move on. All right, 3.5. Insert a drop cap on the letter O in the word over in the first paragraph. It must drop 2 lines, and the distance from the text must be 0.2 centimeters. So here is our O. Let me just zoom into this. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the O. Then I'm going to go up to the Insert tab. I'm going to go all the way over to the text section. And I'm going to click on the down arrow next to drop cap. And the reason for this is I want to customize this. So I want to go all the way down to drop cap options and have my dialog box pop up. So what's the question paper saying? Insert a drop cap. I've done that. It must drop 2 lines. So let's go back. Drop. They mention nothing about the font, so leave it as is. How many lines? 2 lines. Distance from the text, 0.2 centimeters. And you can see as I adjust on these up and down arrows over here, it's giving me what I need. So 2 lines down, 0.2 centimeters. I click OK. Boom. Done. Okay. As simple as that. All right. Next one. So this one was a little tricky. Convert the end note on the word discords to a footnote and use the symbol as a custom mark. All right. So we need to go find our end note, and the end note is usually at the end of a document. So there we can see there is our end note. I'm just going to highlight that. I'm going to right click on it, and there you can see there's the option that says convert to footnote. Okay. I'm going to say that again. Your end notes are notes that appear at the end of a document. Your footnotes will appear at the end of a page. So I'm going to highlight that end note, right click on it, and select convert to footnote. And you see what it does? It goes to the very page where that footnote is. Okay, so there you can see there's discords with a little 1 indicating a footnote, and there's the footnote on the same page. So now what I need to do, I'm going to highlight it again. I'm going to right click on it. And this time I'm going to go to note options. So it's still a footnote, but what this dialog box is going to allow me to do, it's going to allow me to do something else that they wanted us to do, which is to use the little star symbol as the custom mark. Okay. So when I go back here, I'm going to go to format. I'm going to go to number format. And instead of using 1, 2, 3, ABC, you can see at the bottom here, there's a couple of symbols indicating that's what I want. Now, they've got it in the order of star, and there's a cross, and there's another couple of symbols. And there you can see start at, and they've got the star over there. So if I want the cross, you can see that's there. If I want something else, it's there as well. But I want that little star. Click apply. There you can see it changes. Up on the word Discord over there. Yes, you can see Discords, and it's moved over there as well. But there we can see it has changed according to what we needed. All right. Next one, insert a caption at the top of the table. There's a table over here. Okay. Insert a caption at the top of the table with the caption top 10 South Africa. So all I've really got to do is click, just above my table. In fact, I can actually just click on the table, go references, going to go over to captions and say insert caption. What do they want? Top 10 South Africa. Oh, typing is not that great. South Africa. They didn't say they wanted anything else. Click OK, and there we are. There is our caption. So all they wanted was a caption at the top of the table with a caption top 10 South Africa. Have we got that? Yes, we do. Okay. Moving on, 3.8. We're almost at the end of this one. And I mean, that's like 20 marks. Okay. Anyway, modify the table as follows. So they want us to modify the table, merge the heading, top 10 highest earnings for South Africa across the entire table. So this one over here, they simply want us to highlight all of this. They want us to go into our table design, and we can look at our layout as well. And there you can see we have a number of options, right? We can insert cells, above and below. We can merge cells as well. And there you can see when I click merge cells, what did they ask me to do? Merge the heading top 10 highest earnings for South Africa across the entire table. Have I done that? Yes, I've done that. I can go into my alignment over here and align the heading, horizontally and vertically in the center. Okay, they haven't asked me to do that, but I can do that if I need to. Then they want me to insert a function at the bottom of the table to calculate the average earnings. So here are the earnings over there. And if I scroll down, I can see this is where they want it. Now, again, I am inside my table tools. I can go over to formula, click on formula over there. Then they're going to ask me what formula do I want. Now, what do they want? They want the average earnings. So what you are going to do, you are going to type in the formula average. And then we would usually put in our cell references with Excel. We're simply going to type in the word above in brackets, and then we are going to click OK. So once I've done that, you can see my formula is there. Okay. Now, let me just go into it again so you can see. Remember, I went into formula. I put in average and then open bracket above, close bracket. In other words, work out the average of all the numbers above here. Okay. Then they also want us to put it in currency. So all I'm going to do is in number format, I'm going to click in there, scroll down until I see this over here with the rand symbols indicating currency. I'm going to click on that, click OK, and there we have our formula that's worked out the average and it's displaying in currency. Okay, sorted. Right, last one. Apply tab stops to all text after each of the headings: ranking, tournament name, and prize money as follows. They want us to add a 6 centimeter left tab stop and a 15 centimeter right tab stop with a dotted leader. So if I click in over here, I can actually see that this has already been done, but that's fine. What I'm going to do is you go to the home tab, go to our paragraph section, click on the little arrow in the corner to go to our settings, go down here to tabs, and you can see the tabs have already been set. So I'm just going to clear everything and I'm going to click OK. So now there's absolutely nothing. This is how you should have received the document. So if I go now over to paragraph again, paragraph settings, tabs, I can now set the first one, which is, what do they say? Add a 6 centimeter left tab stop. So I just type in the number 6, alignment left, no leader, and I say set. Then they wanted a 15 centimeter right tab stop with a dotted leader. So a 15 centimeter right tab stop with a dotted leader. Click set, click OK. There you go. I can see it in the ruler over there. There's my one tab stop. There's the other. There's the dotted leader as well. Okay. And then they want us to save and close the document as a different name. By now you know how to do that without saving. So we're going to go, we can use, save as. We're not going to use save because it's not going to allow us to save it as a different name. We need to use save as. And we will just obviously choose our location. And what do they want us to save it as? How to get into esports in South Africa. So we'll pop that in there, click save, and that is done. And that is question number 3. So now we're in question number 4. Question number 4 deals specifically with mail merge. Okay. And they want us to use the document school letter. So I just want to go there first. Just a school letter, get that open while we're in the instructions. So they're saying you need to send a personalized letter to each one of the schools within your district in order to invite them to partake in the esport event. Open the document and complete the document by following the instructions below. First of all, they want us to use the document called Schools XLSX as the data source for your letter. Now, this is our document. Okay. I want you just to bear a couple of things in mind. When it comes to mail merge is one of the simplest things you are ever going to do. It's basically a 4-step process. So I'm going to go to mailings, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to go start mail merge. I'll select which one I want. That's step 1. Number 2, I'm going to select my recipients. Then number 3, what I would do is I would insert my merge fields. And number 4, I would finish and merge. Those are your 4 basic steps when it comes to mail merge. And if you can remember those steps, start, select, insert, and finish, you will be fine with your mail merge. You'll never have an issue with that. So with that said, let's go back to our instructions. So use the document as the data source for your letter. Let's go over here. So we're going to start mail merge. It's a letter, as they've said. Select the recipients. I'm going to use an existing list, and that existing list will be in your data folder. That will be, let me see now, your schools XLSX. There they just come up and tell you, look here, there's one sheet in here. You'll say okay. And that's now loaded. You can see how these other buttons now become active. Okay. See what else they want. Ensure that no duplicate letters will be sent to a school and sort the letters in alphabetical order as per school name. So this now requires us to bring in another step. So usually, like I said, we went start mail merge. We said select recipients, but now because of what they are asking us to do over here, this means we need to edit our recipient list. And I'm going to make this bigger so that we can see exactly what's happening here. So this is what it looks like. Just adjusting here quickly so you can read everything. Ensure that no duplicate letters will be sent to a school. So how do I do that? Well, I don't even need to go and tick, take things out there, click in the checkbox, all that. I don't have to do that. I can go down here to refine recipient list. And again, I'm going to go back to my question. It says no duplicate letters and sort the letters in alphabetical order. What do you see here? Do you see sort over there? Yes, we do. Do I see a filter over there? Yes. Find duplicates. So let me just click on that immediately. Find duplicates. And there they're showing me the 3 duplicates. So I can take the tick out of the second one so that there's no duplicates. And I click OK. Now when I click on find duplicates, you can see it's there, but I've taken the tick out of those. So it's not even going to use that now. Then I need to just sort in ascending order the name of the school. Remember, they wanted it sorted according to the name of the school. And that's exactly what I've done. There's my 2 marks. And they want me to insert the relevant merged fields in place of the space holders. So once I've done that, I click OK. So now I'll go down here and I'll go to school name. And please, wherever you place your mouse cursor, wherever you click for your cursor to display, that's where the merge field is going to go. So there they want me to put in school name, and I'll go name of school, and I delete the other indicator over here, because remember, this is the tags that it's going to use. This is just to show you where you need to put these things in. So insert merge field address line 1. Again, delete that over there. Let's go insert address line 2. Line 3 and address line 4. Okay, so we're not really worried with the address line 5. Just delete this. And the reason you want to delete this is because when you when you run your merge, when you finish your merge, it'll display those items as they are there. It's not going to change it. All right, so I can go through here. All this looks fine. And if I want to be sure that it's going to display properly, I go up to preview results. And there you can see beautifully displayed, and that's all okay. Right. They also telling us here the choice 1 option still has the e-game Minecraft Survival as a choice. Please remove this e-game from the list. So I need to scroll down here. There's choice 1. They are saying that the Minecraft Survival is still a choice. So if I click in there, I double click on it, Minecraft Survival is still there. And they want me to remove it. So I simply click on Minecraft Survival and I click on remove. And I click OK. So how did I get there? I just double clicked on this over here. Remember, this is now our little control box. Double clicked on that. It opened up this options, and then I can, I can do whatever I need to over here as per the instruction. Right, you will notice that choice 2 does not have the game Call of Duty as an option. Please add this option and make sure it'll be the first option to choose when a selection needs to be made. So let's go to choice 2. And they want me to go in here, and they say Call of Duty is not there. So let me put in Call of Duty for all you Call of Duty fans. And I'm going to click add, but now it's at the bottom. Okay, so if I click OK, just double click again, you can see it's at the bottom. However, if I click on it and I move it up to the top with these arrows until it's on top and I click OK, you see what happens? Okay, it now becomes my first choice. All right, next one, add the help text, the type of device you will use for this game to the platform control. So we want to go to platform over here, and they want us to add this help text. So how do we do that? Well, again, I click on this content control. There's a button that says add help text. And we can go to type your own. What do they want us to say? the type of device you will use for the game. The type of device you will use for the game. And we click OK. And OK. So what's going to happen now when the person moves and, you know, the mouse pointer over there and they want to actually click on something, the little help box will then come up. Okay. Next one, make sure the option please indicate that you have a strong and reliable internet connection is checked by default. So it's this one over here. Please indicate that you have a reliable and strong internet connection. Again, double click on the content control. I can go over here to my default value. At the moment it's not checked, but I can put the radio button in checked and click OK. So by default, it'll come up as checked. All right, then what else do they want me to do? That's it. Complete the merge and save the document as 4 school letter merged. So I simply go up here. Remember what I've done? I went start mail merge, select recipients. Because of what they asked me to do, I had to edit the recipient list. I inserted the merged fields, previewed the results to make sure everything looks good. And now I can click on finish and merge. Now, obviously, folks, you are not going to click on print documents or send email because you are not doing those things. So you're always going to click on edit individual documents. Again, if they want you to do something here, select certain records, they'll tell you to. Otherwise, you leave it as is and you click OK. And once that is done, you'll see you can scroll through your document and you'll have everything you're supposed to in terms of what they have asked you to do. All right, let's go back to our question paper. And I think that's it for our 10 marks. So that is it for question number 4. Now we move on to question number 5. And you can see here, this is the only question that's in this Prac that's going to be dealing with spreadsheets, okay, with Excel. So let's look at the scenario. The data of the players and organization competitions and medals is saved in the spreadsheet named 5 Gaming. So let's just go to our data files. Let's go to 5 Gaming and let's go and open that up. All right, so as that's opening, we're now going to continue. All right. Note, use formula and or functions for all calculations in the spreadsheet. In other words, please don't just type in the answer because we are going to know that you haven't made the calculation. And how do we know that? Well, if we go to our spreadsheet and let's say you're supposed to be a formula, you know, saying equals sum and it's using that range and that's the answer. But you go and type in, you know, you think you're very, very clever and you go and type something in there and the answer is 100% correct. Do you know what we do? We click on that because we're not interested in the answer, but more so in the formula because the formula will give the answer. And what happens? We look up here to the formula bar. Even when we double click in there, it should display the formula, but it doesn't. So we know that even though you got the answer right, you haven't actually put in a formula. When I double click on the cell that has a formula, it'll display it here and in the formula bar. Okay, so just wanted to clear that up. Use absolute cell references only where necessary. So if they don't tell you to do that, please don't. Don't be using absolute cell references all over the show. We know our absolute cell references are those dollars. Please remember also when we use absolute cell referencing, and let me just zoom in here quickly. If we use absolute cell referencing, you know that if we have a cell like D9, we are going to be putting the dollar in, the dollar sign before the D, and a dollar sign before the 9, because we are saying that as we drag this down, we do not want the reference to the column nor the row to change as we go down. Okay, so that's why we put those $2 in there. Okay. Right. All formula or functions should be inserted in such a manner that the correct results will still be obtained even if the existing data changes. Okay, so let's look at the first of a few of our worksheets that we're going to be working in. We're going to look at the 5 Gaming spreadsheet. So I do have that open over here. And you'll see with 5 gaming spreadsheet, just please pay attention to the bottom because you'll have a number of different tabs that we are going to be working in. Okay, but it's all within this one spreadsheet. Okay, let's go to the question paper. Let's see what they need us to do. As we look at the first section here, 5.1, it says work with a heading. Okay, now first of all, we are in the player earnings worksheet. So let's go over to the player earnings worksheet. Yes, we are there. And they want us to work with the heading medals and earnings in cell A1. Here we go, medals and earnings. And let's see what they want us to do. Merge and center the cells A1 to I1. So let's go ahead and do that. A1 over to I1. We go up to the home tab. We go over to alignment and then we go to merge and center. Click the button and that's that. Next one, change the font of the heading to Arial rounded, MT bold, and change the size to font 15. So easiest thing to usually do is first to change it to 15. Again, if it's not there, remember what we do. We click inside the font numbers itself. We erase what's there and we simply type in 15 and hit enter. Okay, so that'll give us our 15. Then they want us to choose, what was it? Arial rounded. Let's have a look at this. They wanted us to choose Arial round. There we go. Arial rounded MT bold. Select that and that's done. Okay. Use a spreadsheet feature in cell A3 or in the range A3 to A102. A3 to A102. Okay, what do we want to do there? It'll automatically insert the rank from 1 to 100. Okay, so if these are here in terms of their rank, then we're going to put in numbers over there from 1 to 100. So all we really need to do is go 1, 2, 3. Highlight all of them, and at the end of that highlighted section you'll see that little icon in the corner there. If I click on it, you'll see even my mouse pointer changed. That's our autofill, and you can see as I go down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I just drag it all the way down till I get to 100, and there it will automatically populate those numbers. So that's just using the autofill function. Okay, let's go back to the question paper. Ensure that that all the data fits the cells and is clearly visible. Okay, so let's see. We can see some of these are a little bit squashed. Well, what we're going to do is we're just going to double click in between the cells. You'll see the mouse pointer changes. And what that is going to do is it's going to automatically adjust to the largest item in that column. You can see some of them getting a bit smaller. Some of them will get a little bit bigger. It all depends on what the largest item in that column actually is. Okay. Right. So what's next? 5.4. Add a function to cell I3. Let's go have a look at I3 over here. Yes. What do they want us to do? That will show the total number of medals for each player by adding the gold, silver, and bronze and tier 1 medals. Copy this function down to the rest of the players. So they just want us to add this, 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 and this. Okay, all of those items. So what are we going to use? We're going to use, yes, that is correct, and equals sum formula. Simple formula. We're just going to highlight all of these cells and hit enter. And again, they want us to copy it down to the rest of the cells. So we're going to use our autofill function in the corner and just drag it all the way down. And there we go. Okay. So that's sorted out. That is 5.4. We've got 3 things that we need to do, and then we're done with this particular sheet. Okay. So 5.5 says change the format of the cells in the range H3 to H102. So let me see H3. Okay, so that's our earnings. to a currency format. Ensure that it is displayed in South African rands with no decimal places. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is just highlight all of those cells. Okay, let's go and highlight all of them all the way down to 100. Now we've done that. Now, in a previous video, I did show you how to do this. Sorry. So we're going to go to the home tab. We're going to go to the number category, and we're going to change this to currency. And you can see what happens. Okay. So you can see the earnings there is 6.965 million. Lovely total there. Have we got it right? Yes. Halfway. Okay. Ensure that it's displayed in South African rands. Is it like that? Yes, it is. And no decimal places. So again, home tab, number category, and this time I go to these icons which I have showed you before, and we're simply going to click on that to remove those decimal places. Please do bear in mind that if after the decimal places it wasn't just 00 but it was like 53 or something, it will round off those numbers. Okay, so just bear that in mind. All right, so we've done that. 5.6, use a suitable spreadsheet feature to apply automatic formatting to the range D3 to D102. Where are we? D3. Okay, D3 to D102 as follows. If the number of gold medals is greater than or equal to 25, then a cell shading of green should be added. If the number of gold medals is lower than 15, so it's not lower than and equal to, just lower than 15, then a cell shading of red should be added. Okay. Again, we need to go and highlight all of that. Go all the way down. And which spreadsheet feature are we going to be using? We're going to be using conditional formatting. Again, home tab, all the way over to styles. We're going to go down to conditional formatting. Now, we're going to need to put in a few rules. Okay. So what were they saying to us? The first one is equal to or greater than 25. Okay. So conditional formatting, highlight cell rules. And here we've got greater than, and I'm going to click on that. And it's supposed to be greater than 25. Okay. Greater than or equal to 25. So you can do this a number of ways. I'm just going to use this as an example. Greater than 25. What did they want us to include there? Cell shading of green. Okay. So cell shading of green, and we click OK. So if the number is greater than 25, we have that in place. Okay. Did it end there? No, it was also to make sure that those numbers that are equal to 25 have exactly the same green shading. Okay, so if I click anywhere else and I scroll through that list, numbers that are equal to or greater than 25, they will, there you can see equal to 25, greater than 25, they are highlighted in green. Okay, let's go and do the second part. Sorry, I've just got to highlight this again. What do they want us to do now? If the number of gold medals is lower than 15. Okay, so conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, less than, what's the number? 15. What do they want us to put in there? Shading of red. Okay, so we can just leave it as the default light red fill and click OK. And folks, there you can see is my list of medals. Those that are equal to or greater than 25 are highlighted in green. Anything less than 15, not including 15, is going to be highlighted in red. Now, some of you might decide that it's a great idea just to go and format these things and, you know, not to even put in the rules. That is not a good idea. Okay. Because again, when I look at this, I look at it and like, oh, wow. Okay. So this learner did this. Beautiful. But that might not be the case. So what we do is we click on there, we go to conditional formatting, and we actually go to manage rules. And we see, oh, there are rules. So that's fine. But what if there are not rules and the person just decided to highlight that? Then there will be nothing here, which means grade 12s, there's nothing to mark. Okay, so please do things the right way. Don't try, and come through with any shortcuts. It's just not going to work. Okay, so that's done. Then the last thing on this particular sheet, go down here, 5.7. Use a function in cell J3 to display the word above average if the total number of medals calculated in cell I3 is greater than the average of the total number of medals for all players. Otherwise, the cell should display average. Okay, so let's go into our... In fact, let me just break down this question first of all. So they're saying use a function in cell J3, because I know some of you are going to get confused with this. So let's go up to J3. Over here. They're saying it must display the word above average. If the total number of medals calculated in cell I3 is greater than the average of the total number of medals for all players. Okay, so this would be the number of medals like for all players. So one of the first things we just need to go and do, we need to pop in here, and let's just, for argument's sake, let's put in average. We open our bracket, we highlight this entire range, and we hit enter. So now we know, even if this doesn't count towards what we need to do, this is the average with regards to all of the medals. And they're saying to us that in J3, they want the word above average to display if the total number of medals is greater than the average. Otherwise, it must display average. So people, first things first, what formula are we dealing with? We are dealing with an if statement. Okay, an if statement, I hate to put it like this, it's like you having a choice between two things. Okay, so let's say there's a guy and he's interested in two girls. Unfortunately, he only has a choice of one of them, but he's got a certain criteria, right, when it comes to them. He maybe likes a girl who is either tall or short or whatever the case may be, but that's the criteria. If the one matches the criteria, beautiful. He goes off into the sunset with her. However, if person A does not match the criteria, then he must choose person B. Okay, regardless of what person B is. So that is always what I like to throw in with regards to the if statement. It's going to match the one, or the criteria must match the first choice. If it doesn't, then you have to go with the other one. Do we have that here? Yes, we've got a criteria. Our criteria is that it's got to be greater than the average total number of medals. If it is, it must display above average. If it's not, it must only display average. Okay, so let's go into the spreadsheet and let's start working on this. But you'll see the only catch here is that within our if statement, we have to bring in the average formula. Okay, because that's what we're working on. So I'm just going to make some space for this because it's going to be a long one. Okay, so we start with equals if. We open our bracket, and they did say to us if what is in I3, right? If what's in the first cell, I3, is greater than what? I've now got to open my bracket, and I've got to put in the formula average. That exact formula I used at the bottom. Right, that exact formula. Got to pop that in. Now, this might look complicated, but let's take it step by step. All I'm saying here is if whatever is in cell I3 is greater than, and this has to be in its own brackets because this is a formula on its own, average I3 to 102, to I102. In other words, the average of the range I3 to I102. If whatever is in I3 is greater than the answer to this formula, then what must it display? It must display, Oh, what am I typing in there? It must display above average. And if it doesn't, it must display average. And I close my bracket. Now, you'll see again, because of my version of Office, I've got to separate it with semicolons. If your version is older, like 2010, 2013, you might have to separate it with commas. So just bear that in mind when it comes to doing that. But essentially, what this formula is saying is the following. If whatever is in cell I3, which is 75, is greater than the answer to this formula, which we already know is, just go down here, which we already know is 42.8. So if it is greater than 42.8, which we know it is, it must display in inverted commas because it's text above average. This one here is if it doesn't match that criteria, then it must display average. So we can now hit enter and it will tell us above average. Now, here's where it gets tricky. What we've done so far is to just use the autofill and just pull things down, you know, and stuff like that. Let's see if the same is going to be true here. Looks fine. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's go all the way down to 100. And it all seems to be okay. Now, one of the reasons I just checked that is because sometimes we need to put in, you know, our absolute referencing. But fortunately, in this case, we didn't need to do that. Okay, so that was it for our first section, covering player or working within the player earnings worksheet. Okay, so now as we continue, we're going into the organization earnings worksheet. Let's go over there. Here we can see the info that we have in this worksheet. Okay, let's see what they want us to do. So they want us to change the tab color to any color of our choice. Well, that's fine. Right click on the tab itself, go to tab color, choose a color, and you're done. Let's go back, scroll down. You can see it's just a few things we need to do. Format the data in cells A1 to G51. So let's go A1 to G51. Highlight your range. Now, what do they want us to do with this range? They want us to format it as a table using the blue. So what do they want us to do? They want us to format it as a table using the blue medium table style. Okay, so let's go back. Let's first of all get it in as a table. So what we're going to do is, you can see here on styles, we can go format as table. And we're going to go over to medium. Which one did they want again? Blue medium table style 16. So I'm on the home tab in the style section, format as table, and it's blue medium 16. That's 15. So there should be blue table style medium 16. I click on that, and then this box comes up and it asks you, where is the data for your table? And they show you their A1 to G51, and we click OK. Right, so we've done that. Let's go back to the paper. Make sure to include the headings in your style so that they have filters placed on them. Yes, that's all in place. We can see them over there. Okay, so that's done. 5.10, use the filter placed on the headings in question 5.9 to sort the data according to the gold medals from highest to lowest. So we're going to go to the gold medals. We're going to go to the little down arrow, and we're going to filter it from largest to smallest. Bingo. Just like that. Okay. 5.11, in cell C53. Let's go to C53. C53. There we go. What do they want us to do there? Use a function to count how many teams did not receive a tier 1 medal. Okay, so if we go back here and we go to the tier 1 medals, you'll see those that didn't receive, that those cells were actually left blank. So what are we doing? All we need to do is count the number of blank cells. Okay, so we're going to go equals count blank. Going to open up our bracket, pop in our range. Let's highlight all of those cells and hit enter. Okay, so here, according to question paper in cell C53, use a function to count how many teams did not receive any tier 1 medals, and the answer is 24. Okay, you can see why that was done, because we used the count blank. Don't worry because of this displaying like this. This is because we are using a range within a table. Okay, next one. Let's have a look. What do they want us to do? In cell C54, that's where I am. Use a function to calculate the maximum number of gold medals. Okay, now we know already this is like grade 10, 11 work. When we use max, that's going to give us the largest number in a range. Now, whoa, that should ring some bells because we have two formulas to actually help us do that. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you use, but I'm going to show you both. So we want to look at the largest number of gold medals. We already know just by looking through, it should be 35. So I know some of you are going to, again, not listen, and you're going to type in 35. And guess what? We're going to mark it wrong. Okay, because it's wrong. There's no formula. Remember the instructions. Okay, so I'm going to go equals max. I'm going to open up my bracket and I'm going to highlight the range of cells containing the number of gold medals. I hit enter and the answer is 35. When I double click on it, there's my formula. Now that is one way that you can do it. It's an easy way. You'll get your 2 marks. You get your 2 marks because of the formula and because of the range that you put in. However, you can use the following. I don't know how many of you remember the large formula. I can use large, open my bracket, highlight the same cells. Okay. The only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in a comma, my semicolon at the end, and put in the number 1. Why would I do that? Because, and I'm going to use horrible English now, we want the number 1 largest number in that range. Look what happens when I hit enter. It comes out to 35. Why? Because I've got the largest number, the number 1 largest number. I know it sounds terrible, but the number 1 largest number in that range. When I use max, it's giving me the largest number in that range. So whether you use max or whether you use large, doesn't matter. It's going to give you the same answer. It's going to do exactly the same thing. Let's continue. Let's go down. So now we are done with that worksheet. We're looking at working in active players. Okay. They say 513. Okay, let me actually just go over to that one. They're active players. And let's make it nice and big. All right. So they're saying insert a formula in cell F2 to determine how long each of the players have been active in years. Use the join date in column E. Okay. So we know when it comes to, you know, dates and times, there's certain formulas that we're going to use. Yeah, they tell us note only the years must be displayed and the formula should work for any year. Okay. So if I go in over here, I know that if we use something like equals now open and close bracket, that's going to give us the current date, you know, with the year, the time, everything like that. So we basically want to take 1 year and we want to subtract it from another year. We want to take what we've got as this over here and we want to subtract it from our join date over there. Okay, so now I'm going to just put equals now in here so we can just keep that as a reference. Okay, so that updates automatically. And that's what they're essentially saying, because when they say this about the formula should work for any year, they are also indicating that it needs to be one that's updated automatically. So if I open it up in 2 or 3 years, it should give me a different answer from opening it up today. So I'm going to go equals year. That's my year function. And in brackets, I'm going to put in my now. Okay. In other words, to get the current year, then I'm going to subtract that from the year based in cell E2. That should then give me my answer, but I've got one problem. It's displaying as a date. Now, how do I change that? Well, let's go and look over here. If I go to home, if I go to the number section, you can see it's under custom. What happens if I change that to number? Do you see what happens? It goes to 2. If I take the decimals away, what happens now? Okay, it changes into just a solid number. No decimals, nothing. And when we talk about years active, that would be 2 years. Now, if you just look at this joining date, you can think for yourself, well, 2019 to 2021, that is just over 2 years already. Okay, remember, it's only basing it on calculating 1 year minus the other year. Let's take this down using our autofill, and we can see there, this one is 3 years, 1 year, and 6 years. Okay, so please remember what we did, and I'm going to take you through the whole thing again just to be 100% sure. We're going to use the year function, and we're going to say, well, we want to take the current year. Now, usually, in fact, I'm going to do it this way. That's what the formula looks like. Okay, we want to take 1 year away from the other. What we want in year is the year based on the current date and time, where we use equals now. Okay, so that's why I'm putting that in brackets. This reference is E2 because we're taking the current date and time and we're subtracting it from the join date. We hit enter. That's the answer we get. We then have to change that in the number section to a number and take the decimals away to give us a whole number. Then we can do the autofill and we're all happy and smiling. Okay, so that's why this is worth 4 marks. All right, let's move over to the last one here. You can see it's only 2 things we need to do, but I mean, that's already worth 8 marks on its own. In cell G1, so let's go over to G1. What do they want us to do? Use a formula to have the players in uppercase as well as the country they are displayed from, displayed as follows. So they want it to look like this: Anna from Australia. So do you see what we need to do? We need to join things here. Okay, and there's one formula that we don't like using that does this, and it is concatenate. Yes, that massive word that we hate using, concatenate. So what are we concatenating or joining? We are joining the ID to the country. Okay, and in between that, we need to make sure it's joined with the word from, and you can see there's a space between Anna and from. There's a space between from and Australia as well. Okay, so there's quite a bit that we need to do there, but don't panic. Got you covered. We're taking this step by step. Let's see what the heading. Okay, they don't need a heading. So we know we are going to use concatenate. That's not an issue. Okay, just gonna move this over. So we know we're going to use concatenate, and essentially we are saying that, you know what? Let me just go out here. I just want to zoom out. I'm going to go concatenate. What I want to join whatever is in cell A2. And I put in my comma. Well, no, sorry. I've got to put in semicolons. Please remember difference between the two depending on which version you're using. And let's say I want to join that to B2, close my bracket, hit enter, and there I've got Anna Australia. Is that what they want? Almost there, but it's got to be Anna from Australia. I've got to put in the word from. Okay, so how do I do that? Well, in between here, I'm going to put in a space, inverted commas, and put in the word from. Finish it with a semicolon. You can see now concatenate whatever is in A2, add the word from in the middle, and then pop in B2, whatever's in B2. I hit enter. Now we've got Anna from Australia. Okay, get in there. Get in there. You can see how we're building towards it. What I'm going to do now with from, I'm going to put in a space before and after it. You can see where I've got my inverted commas. I'm putting in a space and then the word from, then a space, then the inverted comma. Okay, let's see what that does for us when I hit enter. Ah, do you see now? Putting in that space gives me my space of Anna, space from, space Australia. I'm building towards it. Okay, one last thing. The only thing that's different now is the fact that Anna needs to be in uppercase. So we know that in order to do that, we then have to use the upper formula. So I'm going to go with upper, and I'm now going to put A2 in its own bracket. So that we're saying, listen, concatenate A2, but A2 needs to be in uppercase. So we've got to use upper just for A2. Then we take in from, putting that in the middle, and then putting B2 at the end. And there I get my Anna from Australia. Okay. Please, guys, I would suggest when you do this particular one, don't autofill it. Do the same thing. Let's do another one together. So here we know it has to be Thompson from Finland. Okay. So again, we're going to go concatenate. We're then going to open our bracket and we're going to say upper because we want to make or change whatever's in A3 to uppercase. So we're saying, well, we want to change the case of cell A3. Put in our semicolon or comma in your case, whichever one it is. Open our inverted commas. Have a space after the inverted comma. Type in the word from. Put in another space. And another set of inverted commas. The reason we put the space in is because it is going to provide spacing between the word from and whatever comes before it and after it. Put in my semicolon, and then this time pop in B3, close my bracket. That should be that. Thompson from Finland. Now let's just see for interest sake. If I do use the autofill function, what's going to happen? Okay, it works perfectly fine. Remember, I keep checking this just in case I need to use my absolute cell referencing. But there you can see everything looks exactly as it is there. And that's how I'm going to get my 4 marks. So for our chart, we're going to look at our chart worksheet. So I'm going to go over there, go over to chart worksheet. And that's what we currently have. Now let's see what they want us to do. Make changes to the chart as follows. Add the image. They want us to change a title, change a series, change vertical axis, and remove the legend. And then they tell us that the chart should appear as follows. Okay. So now we have a very good idea of what everything needs to look like. Okay. So let's use that as our little template over there. We'll refer back to that every time. And let's first go back into our chart. So first things first, we want to right click on our chart. We want to go down to format chart area. And then we want to go to fill. Okay. We're now going to choose picture or texture fill. And we're going to go down to picture source and say insert. So obviously we need to insert this from a file. We go into our data files. There's the picture that we're looking at. And we've got it. Okay. Now we can see what this looks like. It's slightly faded, so it's not 100% correct. Well, what's the other instruction? As the background to the chart area, we've done that and change the transparency of the picture to 55. So let's go in, let's pop in there and change the transparency to 55. Have we done that? Let's have a look. Yes, we have. Okay, that's successful. Done. 5.15.2, change the title of the chart to players by tournament. And we can see there what it must look like. So we can go back to our chart and here's the chart title. So all we're going to do is just literally click in there and say players by tournament. Again, they haven't told us exactly, what size it needs to be. So you can just go and play around with this as you want to. Yeah, it really doesn't matter unless they've specifically told you what to choose. Okay. Have they? No, they haven't. Next one. Change the series line to a thickness of 4.5. Series line. This blue line is our series line. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it. Then I'm going to right click on it again and go to Format Data Series. Okay. I'm going to go to my little bucket over here. And I'm going to go down to width. And I'm going to change that to 4.5. Now you can see in the picture it was also red. So I'm just going to do that anyway. And there we go. Okay. That's how I've formatted that. That's my series line. The next one they want me to do is change the vertical axis title to players. So here we go. There it says axis title. Just want to see what it looks like, how big it must be. Doesn't have to be big, maybe just bold. And it says players. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to double click in my axis or axis title, and I'm going to type in players or just player. And I'm going to make it a little bigger. Let me just make sure I've clicked on it correctly. And I'm going to increase the size. Okay, so there we go, player. And that's sorted out as well. So it's starting to look like this. Only thing I think I haven't done is removing the legend from the chart area. So that's on the right hand side over here. Click on it, press delete, and it's as simple as that. I've now modified my entire chart according to what they wanted. Okay, you'll see now the only thing is, or the only problem is that they haven't given me the font type for these two. So if they haven't given you that, you are allowed to use whichever one you want to. Okay, let's go down. Last thing to finish off this 50 mark question. And we're looking at tournament countries. So the tab tournament countries. And here we can see there's nothing really except countries. Okay. So it says copy the countries from column G in the largest tournament by prize pool worksheet. Largest tournament by prize pool, column G. I want us to copy those countries to the tournament countries workshop. Worksheet. Use a feature in Excel to make sure that each country only appears once. There should be a total of 23 countries. Okay, so first things first, when I go here to my largest tournament by prize pool and I just highlight all of these cells and I use my traditional copy and paste, when I go to paste, none of these options, whether I go paste or any of these, none of these are going to do what I needed to do, because I can paste everything there, but if I do that, you'll see I've got duplicates. And what did they say? They said they don't want any duplicates. Yeah, you can see this duplicates. They don't want that. So one of the ways in which we can do this, you're going to go to the data tab. And we're going to go all the way over to our sort and filter section. We're going to click on filter. We're going to click on advanced. And then this dialog box comes up. Now we're going to copy it to another location, which is still going to be inside our spreadsheet because we have to do that first. There's no criteria, but we want, where are we going to copy it to? We click in copy to, and we can click on any one of these cells over here. What's important is we need to put the tick in unique records only. In other words, there'll only be one of each item. Put the tick in there, click OK, and you can see from that long list, it's narrowed it down to this unique list of countries. Now, grade 12s, I can take this as is. I can copy it, I can cut it, whatever I want to do, and then I can just go and paste it under these countries. Right click, paste, and it's done. Okay, so please remember how I did that now. We went through over here, we highlighted these, we went to data, we went to filter, we went to advanced until we got this advanced filter where we said we want to copy to another location, clicked on that particular, in fact, clicked in here first, clicked on that cell, put the tick in unique records only, and then said OK. So let's go through 5.17. See what let's just break it down, see what it's actually saying to us. Insert a function in cell B2. Let's go to B2. over here. What do they want us to do? In B2, that will calculate the total prize pool for each country over here. Okay, so in other words, for each of these countries represented here, like Stockholm, Birmingham, they want the total prize pool to display over here. But where are we getting our data from? They tell us we're getting our data from largest tournament by prize pool. Okay, so I need to go to that particular sheet, and here you can see Stockholm, and there's my prize pool. But the reason they want us to put in a formula is because some of these countries have duplicates. Remember when we copied that over there, Moscow's got 2, I think Seattle's got like 6. So they wanted to combine everything and obviously put it in here. So we're drawing our data from this worksheet to pop into this worksheet. So our criteria when we start with this, we are looking first of all at a sum if. Why sum if? Because we are saying, listen, we want to add all these prize pools together if it matches the criteria of the country. Okay, so when I put in equals sum if, and I open up my bracket, I'm going to put in my range, which is now in a different cell. Now, usually I'll stop and I'll say, no, wait, hang on. If we're going to be doing this, then let's do it a different way. Let's do it a safer way. Didn't click in there. Let's do it again. Insert function, sum if. I'm just going to go to criteria, pop in my criteria. Then I'm going to range, largest tournament. And you can see the location is my range, right? Because I'm saying that's the range. Out of that range, I wanted to find the criteria, which is Stockholm. And then I wanted to add the prize pools from this range. And there you go. That gives me my answer. When I click OK, you can see there it appears over there. So this number represents the prize pool for Stockholm. So there's our answer. And at first glance, you might see, oh, well, it doesn't quite match up to what we see. But hang on, is this the only prize pool for Stockholm? No. Have a look at the bottom. There's a 1 million rand for Stockholm. So it should actually be 41 million rand, 018195 when we sum them together, add them together. Oh, there we go. 41018195. That is correct. But when we scroll it down, or when we use our autofill feature to pull it down, it should now change. Bingo. You can now see that that is all done. And so grade 12s, that's it for question number 5. Your Excel, you can see it was a bit longer because they've just turned it into one big 50 mark question. But I hope that gives you good clarity on that, and you're going to use this as we now go through to question 6, where we look at databases. So question number 6 looks at databases, and let's check out the scenario in this case. It says statistics need to be kept in a database of all the esport players' information. As this is a worldwide sport, it is important to have the statistical information of all the countries who partake in esports as well. So they want us to open the database 6 esports. So let's go to our data files and let's go and open up 6 esports. All right. While that's opening, let's see what they need us to do in this first section. They want us to open the players table and do the following. It was decided that only certain e-game points will count towards the competition results. Change the most game results field so that only the following options will be allowed. Then they want us to change the player name field so that it can never be left blank. In other words, they want us to make sure that this is a required field. Okay, so let's go to our database. Please remember when you open this to click enable content, it might ask you to make it a trusted document and you'll just indicate yes. Okay, so they want us to go to the players table. Let's open up the players table. There it is. See again what they want us to do. Change the most game results field. So in order to do that, we need to go to our design view and we're going to go to see most game results. Okay, so they want us to go to most game results. change that so that only the following options will be allowed. Right? They only want those options in there. This now means that we're going to have to put in some sort of a combo box. Okay, at the moment, it's on short text. Okay, so that's definitely not going to cut it. We're going to have to change that data type to a combo box. And for that, we're going to use our lookup wizard. It's going to come up with a wizard over there. I want the lookup field to get values from another table or query. No, I can type my own in because I know exactly what it's going to be. And there we can see StarCraft 2. So I'll just type in StarCraft 2. I'm just going to do it that way. All right, StarCraft 2. Click in the next one. What do they want? Age of Empires 2. Next, Rocket League. Oh, sorry, I pressed enter. Rocket League, nice game. What else do we have? Crossfire. Okay. Let me see, is that it? So it's StarCraft 2, Age of Empires 2, Rocket League, Crossfire. That's all in there. Okay. We then click next. And what label would you like for the lookup field? Do they say anything here in terms of what they want? No, they don't really say that. So we leave it as is and click finish. So when we go to lookup of this, you can see, first of all, the data type doesn't change because we've now added a combo box to this. It tells you value list. It tells you what's there. When I go through to my datasheet view, they're going to ask me to save it. So I save the changes. That's fine. When I now go to my most game results, you can see I can click in there and I can select from a number of these options. Okay, that's the first thing I needed to do. Then secondly, they said, change the player name field so that it can never be left blank. So player name, let's go to the general area of our properties, and we're going to go to required, and we're just going to change required from no to yes, which means the person has to put something into that particular cell. It's going to ask us to change it again. We say yes, that's all fine, and there we go. Okay, so that's done. Let's continue. They want us to close the table as well. Okay, let's close the table. Then we want to open the teams table and do the following. So let's go to the teams table and let's see what's happening here. Insert a new field and name it team ID. Now you can do this two ways. You can do it sometimes within the datasheet view, but remember, generally we go to our design view, and what do they want it to be called? Team ID. Team ID. In order to make sure the teams cannot have duplicate names, you need to create an input mask for the team ID field. So we're just going to use short text. That's fine. They want us to go and use or put in an input mask. Okay, now remember, why do we use an input mask? An input mask is going to force the person to enter only certain characters according to what we want it to be. So let's use the example of a normal license plate. When you look at a license plate number, it's usually like 3 letters, 3 numbers, 2 letters. Okay. So when we put in an input mask, we can put in an input mask to say they can only enter 3 capital letters. They then have to enter 3 numbers, and then they must enter 2 capital letters. It just helps the person that is going to be entering the data to do so without any mistakes, or we would hope they enter it without mistakes. Okay, so let's go and put in an input mask. For this, I actually just want to go all the way down the question paper, and I want to go to the input mask character sheets. You can see with our characters, when I use a 0, it means a user must enter that particular digit. If I put in a 9, it means the user can enter it. They are not compelled to. The hash symbol over here means the user can enter a digit, space, plus or minus sign. The L indicates the user must enter a letter. And a question mark indicates that the user can enter a letter of any kind. You can go through the rest. I'm just looking at the most important ones. This one over here, the greater than sign, converts all characters that follow it to uppercase. The less than sign converts all characters to lowercase. Okay, so we're doing that for a specific purpose because of what's coming. So we need to enter this input mask. Here are some examples because they're saying that the criteria is it must start with a compulsory 3-digit number. Now, what did we say? If we put in an input mask where they have to enter 3 digits, it's going to be 000 because zeros, according to our input mask tag sheet, is actually telling us that they must. It's compulsory for them to enter digits. And in this case, we have 3 zeros, so they must enter 3 numbers. That's fine. Then it must be followed by a compulsory capital letter. So in this case, I'm just going to use a space for now. We're going to use a capital L, which indicates they must enter a capital letter. And the rest of the field must consist of 4 optional lowercase letters. Okay, so just remember, if we go in with our lowercase letters, we're going with at least 4 letters. The question marks indicate that we can enter letters. But now, how am I going to, force people to enter lowercase or uppercase? Because even this L is only indicating that they must enter letters. This is where I'm going to use my greater than and less than. So what I'm saying here is that they need to enter 3 zeros, right? In other words, 3 numbers. Then this greater than and L means they must put in an uppercase letter. And this less than sign and the question marks indicates that they can enter up to 4 lowercase letters as well. I hope you're with me. I hope you are with me. Let's look at that again. I'm going to open up PowerPoint here. Love working with this. Right, so I'm going to do this again. My zeros, I'm just going to do this. And what was it? The L. So when I break it up, this is essentially what I'm saying. That here they must enter 3 numbers. They don't have a choice. If this was 2 zeros, then this changes because now they must enter 2 numbers. Again, they don't have a choice. This section over here is going to say to me, well, we've now got an uppercase and a letter. The L only indicates a letter. L only indicates that a letter must be entered. That's all it indicates. I know I'm making this long, but I need you to understand this. Really, really need you guys to understand this. That I'm showing you a bit of PowerPoint as well. Okay, so the L only indicates that a letter must be entered. The greater than symbol over here is telling me something completely different, right? This is telling me now that whatever follows it must be a capital. So again, I'm trying to take this slow. Whatever follows, oh, my spelling today. Whatever follows the symbol must be uppercase. So if that's true, then when these two are together, what's going to happen? It's got to be not just a letter, but a capital letter. The same is going to be true over here. Whatever follows this symbol must be in lowercase. Okay. What's following it? 3 question marks. What does that mean? The question marks indicate that you can enter any letters. Okay. Question mark indicates that I'm going to put it this way, that up to 3 letters can be entered. Not must be entered, can be entered. Okay, so I hope that explains it to you, why we are using that. Obviously, it's based on the scenario. You can see 3 letters, a capital letter, and we have our question marks for our lowercase letters. So whether it's 3 question marks or 4 question marks, doesn't matter, but that indicates if I have 4 now, it means that you can have up to 4 letters that can be entered. Okay. Right. Thank you for that PowerPoint lesson. Let's move on. Okay, so we've got that done. Then they want us to change the team name field to the primary field. In other words, making that the primary key. So all we do, we just click on that. We click on primary key, and that's done. Okay. Last one for this particular table. There are only 149 countries that will be taking part in the eGames tournament. Add a validation rule that will ensure that only numbers between 1 and 49, both included, will be allowed in the country field. So there we have the country ID. We want to put in a validation rule. The validation mask is already, validation text is already there. Please remember the difference between the two. The validation rule is the rule that we are applying. The validation text is what comes up when the rule is not followed. If a teacher tells you to keep quiet, what do? You follow the rules. Yes, because you are brilliant students. Okay? I know some of you don't even listen to the teacher, but that's a topic for a totally different day. But when the teacher tells you, listen, keep quiet or I'm going to kick you out of my class, what do? Don't answer that. Please don't answer that. I would assume you keep quiet. Therefore, you don't get kicked out. If you don't keep quiet, what's the consequence? You're going to be kicked out. The validation rule works like that. That's the rule. That's the teacher saying you need to keep quiet. If you don't, I'm going to kick you out. The validation text is what happens if you don't follow the rule. So that text can be anything. Okay? If you have to type out your own, please, you don't have to be confined to formal language or anything like that. But as long as the validation text makes sense. So on the rule side, all we're really going to say is, and we've used this in our queries already, but we can just say between 1 and 149 as our validation rule. You can also, instead of using that, you can go greater than or equals to 1 and less than and equal to 149, and that will give you exactly the same thing. So it doesn't matter which one you use. You can also say greater than 0 and less than 150, as long as it's between 1 and 149 and it includes 1 and 149. Okay, so that's it for that table. Let's go into the last table over here, 6.3. Oh, see, there's another one. Okay, so let's go. Just finish 6.3 quickly. Open the countries table and do the following. So we've done all of that. Let's go to our datasheet view, save. Yes, that's all fine. And we're going to close. Now we're going to open up countries. And let's have a look here. The organizers of the tournament would like to know the total number of countries that are taking part in the tournament. Let's see use a function at the bottom of the table in the datasheet view to show the total number of countries taking part in the tournament. Now, I saw something earlier. Okay, it wasn't in this one. Okay, so we're going down to the bottom. They want a total on the number of countries. So for this, where are we going to go to? Where are we going to go to? In our home tab, look at the records over here, and we have totals up here. So all we got to do is click on totals. You'll see total comes up there. This is what I want to add up. So I'm going to click in this cell over here. You'll see a little drop-down box comes up, and the only one I've got that comes up is count. Why? Because I can't use sum for text. I can only use count, to do this. So I click on count. There's my total, and it's done. Simple as that. That's why it's only 1 mark, people. It's not a 5-mark question. Okay. And that brings me to the end of that table. So now we're going to move on to 6.4. So 6.4 continues with database and asks us now to create a new table. This is 6.4.1 by importing the data from an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. They also indicate that they only want us to import the medals range from the spreadsheet and to name this table medals. So let's go and do that. We're going to go to our Access database. We're going to make sure everything is closed here. And you see, we only have a few tabs that's actually available to us. So we're going to go to the external data tab. And the reason for that is because the question paper is saying we need to import. So when you import, you bring in something from the outside in. Like when you import something from overseas, you are bringing it from outside your country and you're bringing it into your particular country. Okay. So this is external data. And we're going to go new data source. We can go from file and we can say Excel. Alternatively, you can go there. Doesn't matter. This is what comes up. This is what is important. So your dialog box here asks you, well, where is the file? So you need to navigate to the data files folder. And there's my Q6 access import. There's my file. Then it asks me for 3 things. Number 1, search for import in Microsoft Access. Do you want to import the source data into a new table? What did they ask us? Into a new table. Do you want to append a copy of the records to the table? No. Do we want to link it to a data source? No. We want to create a new table out of this. So leave it as is and click OK. Now they're going to ask you, this is basically what the spreadsheet looks like. There's your headings on top. What did we want? What did the question paper say? Only import the medals range from the spreadsheet. So instead of show worksheets, we want to show the named ranges. And there we go. There's medals. So we click on medals, and this is everything that's inside of medals, because if I click on players, you can see that that changes. So I'm just going to click on medals, click next, leave everything as is because they haven't asked us to do anything else. Next, leave it as is. Next, leave it as is. Next, import to table, and this is going to be the name of the table, medals. Now, you don't see a table here that's called medals because it hasn't been created. Then you can just click finish. Click close. You don't have to, unless they ask you to do that, you don't have to do any of those things. And boom, there you go. On the left-hand side, what do we see? Aha, a table called medals. What a surprise. Okay, table called medals. We can open it and we've got 20 entries. Now, when I look at the memo to this, it says the table will have 20 records. People, there we go. Okay, we've nailed this. So we've got that sorted. What else do they need us to do? The next one, 6.4.2. This is where we deal with relationships within the table. So they say a relationship between the table, country, and teams has been done. Now, how can we go and verify this? How do we know that this is actually there? Okay, well, if we go through over here to our table tools, our table fields, do we see anything? No, database tools. There we go. Okay, I want you to get to grips with the tabs. That's why sometimes I'll be going through these tabs and I'll ask you, even though I can't see you, I will ask you, is it this? Do we find it here? Because I want you to ask these questions so that you can become confident in what you are doing. So we go to database tools, we go to relationships, and here we see there is the table countries, the table players, the table teams. Now, what are they saying? There is an existing relationship between countries and teams. That's done. We're not even questioning that. There it is. Shows us it's going from that primary key within that table to, you'll see, country ID. Now, it's not going from primary key to primary key, but it's going from this primary key over here to an item that is the same, or field that is the same in the other table. Okay. This little infinity logo here, that indicates that referential integrity has been enforced. Okay. So where am I going to now? Right. So I was going to the question paper. So let's go and have a look. But the relationship between the tables, countries, and players has not been completed. They want us to create a one-to-many relationship with referential integrity between countries and players. So basically what they're saying is that they want another relationship set up from the countries table to players using the country ID. Do we have country ID in players? Yes, we do. Okay. So I can just go and click on edit relationships. And I'm going to click on create new. And my table that I want to link from is going to be my countries table. Where do I want to link it to? I want to link it to players. Now, what am I going to be taking through or linking up from one to the other? I'm going to be linking up country ID in both of them. And then I'm going to click OK. So there it shows me now. Okay, I can do that. And I can put a tick in enforce referential integrity. And I click create. Once I do that, there you can see there's my new relationship. It's now a one-to-many because this was a one-to-one. But now this table has a one-to-many. In other words, 1 to 2. We shouldn't have relationships like that. No one-to-many relationships, please. Okay, let's keep it to access and nothing else. Okay, so we have this going through and we have our referential integrity enforced. Right, that's sorted out. As we continue, 6.5 says create the following query based on the table teams. They want us to create a query. So if I go into my database, I'm going to go to create. I'm going to go to query wizard. And please remember, when you get to this screen, in fact, with all the wizards, unless they ask you to do something other than what is in front of you, they tell you, listen, click on cross-tab query, click on this. If they don't ask you to do that, then you don't select any of those things. You just continue with the default options that are in place. Like here you can see when you open a query wizard, the first thing that comes up is simple query wizard. Please, if they don't ask you to choose anything else, just click OK. Now, first thing we're going to look at is the table. Which table is it based off of? We want to create a query based off what table? At the moment, it's showing medals. What does the question say? Certain teams have never competed in any of the tournaments. Only display the team name of those who have never participated, sorted according to the team name. Go back here, create the following query based on the table teams. So already it's telling me a few things. I've got to change that to teams, right? Because that's the table I'm basing this off of. Also, people who have never competed in tournaments. So one of the fields I need is tournaments. Also, let's continue. Only display the team name and sort it according to team name. So guess what field I need? Team name. That's all I need. There's nothing else in there that's actually indicating, you know, sort of what else I actually need to throw in there. So let's leave that. Let's click on next. Would you like a detailed or summary query? Just leave it as is. They haven't said anything. What name do you want? I'm just going to change. They haven't told us what name. I'm just going to go with team name query. Leave everything as is, as I said, and just click finish. Now I'm done. Okay, I've created the query. But the only other thing they want me to do is only display the team name of those who have never participated. So we have to go into the design view because we've created the query. That's fine, but we have to go into the design view and we have to do something. We need to do two things. First of all, they want this sorted according to the team name. So that's easy enough. When you go into team name and you've got teams over there, then you can simply go and say, listen, I want it ascending or descending depending on what they ask. In this case, ascending is fine. And I'm going to run. Again, you can see after I do something, right? I click run, see, okay, that's fine. Go back into my design view. It seems a bit tedious, grade 12s, but doing it like this means you are assured that you've done each and every thing correctly. Then I'm not going to go sort, I'm not going to go show, I'm going to go to my criteria of my tournaments field, because what did they ask me to do? Display the team name of those who have never participated. All right. So in other words, what I could do something like this to say, you know, less than 1. And let me actually take that out and show you why I'm doing that. Because if you look at tournaments here, what are you seeing? You are seeing people who have participated in a number of tournaments. But have a look at this one. Oh, this one's participated in 0. So they're not leaving it blank. Right? They're saying 0, which means if I then put in my criteria to say less than 1 and I click run, look what happens. It brings up an alphabetical list of all the teams that have not participated in a tournament. Is that what they want? Yes. 3 marks, ticked off and completed. Let's go to the next one. Save the query as query 6_5 and close the query. Okay, so generally I can close this query over here, say yes, and then I can right click on it and rename it. What do they want? 6_5. Sorry, query 6_5. So let's go query 6_5. Okay, there we go. Done. Now create another query. Create the following query based on the table players. Okay, that's fine. Create query wizard, simple query of players, they said. So there we are. All the players from the United Kingdom as well as the United States whose results were less than 100 must be retrieved. The following fields need to be included. So, okay, it's nice that they're telling us this. Player name, total. Player name, total. Saw something about results there. And country. Okay, so those are our fields because they're telling us that. Next. Okay, keep it like that. Let's just leave everything as is and click finish. So we're happy with that. And now we're going to go into our design view. And we go in there because of a few reasons. What do they want us to do? All players from the United Kingdom as well as the United States whose results were less than 100. So immediately, the first thing I need to do is just sort this out according to those 2 countries, the United Kingdom and the United States. So let's go there. Player name, total, results, country. And we're going to go to criteria. And we're going to say United Kingdom. And we're going to go with United States. And we're going to run our query. Now we have only those from the United States and the United Kingdom. You see how I'm doing this? Okay. Whose results were less than 100. So for both of them, we need to make sure, we're going to go back into the design view and make sure that the criteria under results, it's got to be less than 100 for both of these. Okay. And the reason I'm putting in 2 criteria here is because of the 2 criteria I put in here. So for both of them, United Kingdom, less than 100, United States, less than 100. I run my query, and there we go. There's my answer. Okay. Now, what else do they need me to do? These players were penalized with 10% of their results. Create a new calculated field called penalty that will show the penalty results for each player. And here they give us an example of what it must look like. Okay, so let's go over to access. Let's go into our design view. And we are going to go over to a new field. And they want us to call this field penalty. Now, when you put in a new field, you've got to put in the name and then a colon. Okay, that indicates that it is a new field that you are creating. When you are referring to a field that is already being created, like I'm going to do now, you'll see that they also use square brackets around them. Okay, so please, when you are referring to a field, you must use these square brackets. So what are they saying? You're looking at a penalty of 10% of their results. So we're basically going to throw in our square bracket and say, well, we're referring to the results field, and these individuals are going to be penalized 10%. Now, if you'll remember from Excel, we would use 0.1 as 10%, 0.15 would be like 15%, 0.3 would be 30%. So that still applies. Okay, so let's see if this works. You're going to say show. Let's have a look here. What have I done? Sorry. Put in a full stop instead of a comma. Right, and there we go. So let's run our query. And there we go, folks. There you can see it's looking exactly like the picture in the question paper. Done. Okay, they want me to save the query and close it as I get to the next one. So we're just going to close that. Going to ask us to save it. We say yes. That's all fine. Okay, now that we've saved it as query 6.7, let's go on to the next part, which says the organizers need to determine who are the best players for the game StarCraft 2. They want us to go into this query, and you can see here most game results, and the ones who are obviously the best for StarCraft 2. So immediately we're going to go to our design view, and the first thing we're going to do is go StarCraft 2, and we're going to put that in as a criteria into most game results. Now sometimes we get the spelling incorrect, so usually what I would do is go and highlight the name and actually copy it from the datasheet view or from the query itself, go into the design view, and then paste that into the criteria, just so I know that I've got the correct spelling, fonts, all those type of things. Then I'm going to click run. If I've done that correctly, it should only bring up StarCraft 2, so I know that is correct. Okay, what's the next thing they want me to do? Show all the players who had earnings of 5 million or more, or who played more than 500 tournaments. So it's a sort of an either or story. Okay, so when I go into design view and I go into tournaments and I say, well, those who played more than 500 tournaments, you can see how I've put that, more than 500 tournaments, and I click run, that's all fine. Okay, more than 500 tournaments, only StarCraft 2. But now they want me to do something else. It's got to be an either or. So those who were the best players for StarCraft 2, who played more than 500 tournaments, and those who were the best players for StarCraft 2 and had earnings of over 5 million. So let's go and have a look at this, which now means I've got to put in StarCraft 2 here as well. And all I'm going to do is just copy and paste that. And the reason for this is you can see your criteria is, sort of either or, this one or that one. They want the most game results for StarCraft 2 based on those who played more than 500 tournaments, and StarCraft 2 for those who earned more than or equal to $5 million. So I'm going to go 5 space 000 space 000, and I'm going to click on run. And there you can see that gives me my list of those who earned more than $5 million in StarCraft 2 and those who played more than 500 tournaments in StarCraft 2. So I'm just going to show you that again. That's what it looks like. That's why I've used StarCraft 2 on both levels, because one applies to more than 500 tournaments and the other one applies to more than $5 million in earnings. 6.8 says open the form team registration and apply the following changes to it. So we're going to go team registration. This is our form. We're going to go to design view and leave it there. Then we're going to go change the text box to a combo box in order for the participants to choose the different countries. Make sure the country field will automatically update from the teams table. So all we're going to do is go to the details section, go to country, that particular text box over there with the label country. We're going to right click on it, go up to change to. We're going to go down to combo box and click on it. The property sheet opens on the side. Make sure you go to the data tab. Go to the control source, which is country. Our row source will be the teams table. Okay, and the row source will be from the table itself. Then when we go to view and form view, and we go to country, have a look at the drop down box. There it is with all the countries listed. All right, let's have a look. Place the red border around the details sections. So all we have to do is go to our form design. This is in design view. We're going to go to our rectangle and we're going to draw a rectangle around our detail section. And now that we've drawn around it, we're going to go to our property sheet. We're going to look at our format and we're going to go down to border color. Over here, we're not going to click on the drop down box. We're going to click on the 3 little dots on the side. And we're going to go down to red because that's what they want. Let's go view, form view. There, it's done. Last thing they wanted us to do is insert the image esports logo into the footer. So let's go and finish this off. Design view. In our footer section, we're going to go insert image, and I've already got mine loaded there, but you need to navigate to the data files folder and find that one. And then you'll see your mouse pointer changes, and I'm just going to draw it in anywhere over here. Move it into the center, and then go view, form view. So there what I've done is I've done my combo box with my countries. I've done the red border, and I've inserted the picture into the footer. Right, so our last item for database is dealing with a report. You can see it's just 5 marks, so it should be very simple things. We want to open the report players report. There's the report. We can see what that looks like. It's not grouped according to anything. It's just an alphabetical. No, it's not even an alphabetical list. It's just a list. Okay, so we're going to go into the design view as we prepare. So they say add grouping to the report on the country field. So I'm just going to make some space here. Please, I always advise you to do this so that you can, see exactly what you're doing. Right, so they want us to group this according to country. So I'm going to go into the details section. I click on country and say group on, because I'm grouping it on country, right? When I go to my report view, you can see it's grouped according to country. There's Belarus, there's Brazil. Let's go back into design view. So we've done the first item. 1 mark, done. Then make use of a calculation to show the total number of players per country in the grouped field footer. So I'm going to right click on the country item again. And instead of going group on, because I've grouped it according to that, there's my country header. I'm now going to say total, and I want to count the records, right? Because we want to know the number of players. When I do that, there's a footer that now comes up. It's going to count, the number of players, but there's no label to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this over a little bit. I'm going to go up to report design controls, and I'm going to click on labels, and I'm going to draw a label over here and just say total. You can say total number of players or total players, whatever you want. And you can move it accordingly, adjust it to where you want it to be. You can add different things to it. But let's leave it like that for now because they haven't asked us to do anything else. Go into the report view, and here you can see grouped according to the country, total number of players, 1. To see if it works, let's scroll down. France has a total of 7 players. Germany, I know, has more. Germany has a total of 13 players. So we can see that that works. Okay, so we've added the grouping. We've made use of a calculation. Now the last thing we need to do is in the footer of the report, there's a calculation that was added to show the results of all the players. So let's go in here. Let's go and have a look. Footer. Okay, results of all the players together. There is a count, but it's not counting correctly, because if we want to show the results of all the players, we can't use count. We're going to have to use sum. Okay, this is the function that will calculate this, however, was left out insert a function in the relevant place that will calculate the total results of all the players. So we want to add all the results together. Now, first of all, if I click on this over here, and you can see it's highlighting unbound as well. In other words, this one I don't even need, right? So I'm going to take that away. I've got my label over here. You can see these two work together. And in my text box over here, I'm going to put in equals sum. I'm going to open my bracket, pop in the name of my field, remember in square brackets, and close my curved bracket again. So what that should now do is when I go to my report view and I go all the way down, there are my results. Okay, so I'm going to show you this again. In the footer, there was another text box over there, but I deleted that because it didn't have anything to do with this. And the formula that was there was wrong because it was counting. So it'll count the number of items. We want them to add all the results together. So we would have to use a sum formula. And usually it'll just be, equal sum, open bracket, and then your range. But our range is the results field. And we put our field in square brackets. So it was as simple as that. Going into our detail, going into that field, grouping it, popping a total on there, and obviously just checking it each and every time in our report view. Now, it's just question number 7. Okay, so now we are on to question 7. This is the last question in this video. You can see this focuses on web design or HTML. Let's have a look at the scenario as we continue. It says your esports teacher has asked you to look at the web page she is designing because she cannot get a few things to work properly. Okay, so 7.1 says open the file 7tournament.html, and they want us, if I just look at this now, they want us to change the background color, center an image, change the font, change the ordered list to a bulleted list, and insert a horizontal line. Not just that, but one that takes up 50% of the window. Okay, so let's go through to our data files, and they want us to open 7 tournament. Okay, so there we go. Now, one of the easiest ways to do this is I usually open this up. I'll open it up with my browser. So I'll open it up over there. And what I just do is I position it on the one side, and then I open the other, and I go open with Notepad. Okay, you might be using Notepad++, that's fine. But either way, what I like to do, and what might work for you, if it doesn't, it's fine. But I like to have my coding and my actual website open next to one another. Okay, so this allows me to see sort of in real time what's happening. So first things first, I'm just going to open the coding here. You can see with the coding, if I look at what's happening there, I can see that's where I should be, doing things for question 7.11, 7.12, etc. Okay, so let's go back to the question paper. 7.11 says change the background color of the page to the hex value #556B2F. Now, the first thing I usually want to look at is to see, okay, well, how would I change the background color? Remember, in previous videos, I have said, and I always do this, we are dealing with American English. Okay, so we are not saying color anymore. We are saying color. Okay, C-O-L-O-R, color. Just like the Americans can, we can too. So we're going to go into our body tag. We're going to put in a space. And guess what we're going to pop in? We're going to say BG color, C-O-L-O-R. If you spell it incorrectly, people, the way we spell it here, as in C-O-L-O-U-R, it is not going to work. Okay, so I pop in BG color. I'm going to go equals, and then in inverted commas, I'm going to put in my value over there, which is 556. Okay, yeah, 556. B2F. Now, and then just close inverted commas. Okay, now please remember when we do something, what do? We go File, Save. We then go to our browser and we refresh it. There we go. The background is changed. Okay, so that's done. Let's go back to our question paper. Center, and again, we are dealing with American English. So it's not center, okay, as in T-R-E. It's center, C-E-N-T-E-R, okay? So let's go to our coding. Let's go C7.1.2. They want us to do it over there. So we're looking for our image. And here we can see there's the image tag, okay? This is also our paragraph that's opening and our paragraph that's closing. So this image tag, or this image, is within this paragraph. So all I have to do is go into the paragraph tag, say space, and go align equals, remember that American? Center. Align equals center. And then I can go File, Save, refresh my site, and there you see my picture has moved to the center. Okay. Right, moving on. 7.1.3, change the font of this paragraph to Helvetica. Okay, so let's see where we need to do that. Go back to our coding and we look here, 7.1.3. And do we have a font tag anywhere around here? Because that's where we closed off the last paragraph. We're opening this one here, and they want the font of this to be Helvetica. Okay, so if we don't have that tag, we need to put that tag in there. So within the paragraph, we're going to open up a tag for font, but we're not going to leave it as, you know, just font. We've got to put font face. So when we deal with the tag face, which is an attribute of the font tag, that applies now to changing the font type. So I'm just going to put, just want to get the spelling correct, Helvetica, inverted commas, close that. And remember, for every tag we open, we need to close the tag. So I'm going to close my font tag. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to highlight the section here. This is where I've now put that font tag in. You can see it's in between these paragraph tags, which means the font tag that I've added, and the font face that I've added here will only apply to this text that happens to be within the paragraph. So there I've popped it in. I'm going to go File, Save. You can see what my text looks like over there. Refresh, and there you can see it's changed. Okay, let's look at 7.1.4. That is the next one. It says change the ordered list. So that's why it's the OL tag. You'll see there the OL tag. And they want us to change it to a bulleted list. So in other words, an unordered list with circles as bullets. So the first thing we're going to do is just make sure we get the bullets in. So you can see that it's an ordered list, 1, 2, 3, 4. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to change the OL to a UL so that it's an unordered list. I'm then going to save and refresh. And you can see immediately it changes there. Now, grade 12s, I hope you are taking note of the way I'm actually going through this HTML program, because what I'm doing is as I do each and every step, I'm saving, and then I'm going over and I'm refreshing to make sure that what I've done actually applies to the website and it works. Okay, the worst thing you can do is to go through all the coding, save it, then go and refresh your site, and then realize, oh my word, something's actually gone wrong, and you don't know where it's gone wrong. Okay, so by doing it this way, you actually end up saving time in the long run, and you know that you're getting it done correctly. Okay, so now what else did they want? They wanted circles as bullets. Okay, in other words, they want us to change the type of bullet. So I'm going to go into my UL tag, go space, and I'm going to use type, and I'm just going to say type equals circle. Okay, remember, this is only for my list. File, save, refresh, and there you can see it's changed from a solid circle to just having the outline of a circle. All right, that's done. Last one here insert a horizontal line that takes up 50% of the window. Okay, so let's go back. Do we have any horizontal lines? No, we don't. They want us to put it in here. So I'm going to go in, and all we're going to say, we're going to open an HR tag. And we know that if we just go HR, what is going to happen? Sorry, I keep pressing on the wrong thing. What's going to happen? Is that going to work? Is that going to work? Yes, but it's going to give me a line that stretches across the entire screen. I mean, even if I maximize this, you can see they only want 50%, which means what do I have to do? I have to go and add an attribute. The attribute is going to be width, and the width is going to equal 50%. Once I've done that, file, save, refresh. There we go. It's easy as that. Okay, so we've got that sorted now. In fact, we've got our first section sorted over here. Let's go to the next one. Apex Legends and Dota 2, okay, have the same number of professional players. Change the table so that the number of players for both Apex Legends and Dota 2 are displayed in one merged cell. The table should look like the screenshot below. So already we know, what it needs to look like. So let's see what our current web page looks like. And you can see some of the differences immediately. Okay, so game and pro players, that's fine. CSGO, this list over here is fine over there. But the big difference is here with 10K. You can see both of them have 10K. So they basically want us to merge these two into one so that 10K only appears once. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do it as follows. We're going to go into our table. Let's see, where's 7.1.6? Let's scroll down. And then we've got 7.1.6 with our ED10K. You can see here for Apex Legends, there's the one. For this one, there's that as well. So all we're going to do now is we are going to go into 10K over here, and we're going to go into TD, and we're going to add, guess what? An attribute. And we're going to say row span equals 2. Okay. And then we can take this out here. File, save, refresh. You see what I did there? The 10K that was down here, I took it out because we don't need it anymore. Okay. What I've done is to go into the table data. In other words, that piece of data within that row, the 10K from that row over there. And I said, or added the attribute row span, which means the row must span over 2 rows, right? It must extend over 2 rows, and that's how I merge my rows. If I wanted to do that over columns, I would go col span, right? The column must span over however many columns I wanted to. Okay, and that's how we get our marks for that particular one. So we've done that. That's our 3 marks. We're down to our last 2 items. 7.1.7 says make your page more accessible by inserting alternative text for the image stadium.jpg as follows. A stadium full of esports fans. Okay, let's go to our coding. Let's see where 7.1.7 is. There's our image. Okay, let's go back to our site. Here we can see we have our image as well. And let's put in alternative text. Now, if you remember, what we need to do here is we need to add another attribute inside our tag. And that attribute is going to be alt for alternative equals, and then we would type, what is it again? A stadium full of e-sport fans. Okay, so now that I've got that alternative text in there, I'm going to go file, save, I'm going to refresh. Oh, but nothing happens. But of course nothing's going to happen, grade 12s. Why? Because that text will only come up if something goes wrong. So let's help something go wrong, right? Let's take the G out here, out of JPEG. Let's go File, Save. Let's refresh. Ah, there we go. So remember, if the image cannot display, it must bring up the alternative text, which is a stadium full of esports fans. All right, so let's go correct that again. And you'll see once that's corrected, refresh, there we go. Our image is back. Okay. Right, 7.1.8, this is the last one. Change the paragraph to display as given in the screenshot below. So let's see what it looks like on our website. And you can see the difference. You can see how the text is being moved. You can also see that U needs to be bold. So let's go back to our coding. Let's space this out. And then let's see what we need to do. So first things first, we know that the U over here has to be bold. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Now how are we going to do that? We're going to do that with our bold tags, which will be our bracket B bracket. And then we're going to close that tag so that it encompasses the U. In other words, that bold tag will only format the word U. We go File, Save, refresh, and there we can see it's changed. Okay, so I am happy with that. What's the next thing? They want us to make sure that the paragraph looks okay. So I need to move that text to the next line as well. I've got a list comma, see where that ends. And I'm going to go to list over here. And I can use my BR tag. Now, what is my BR tag going to do? My BR tag is going to force everything, next to the tag. It's going to force it to the next line. Let's see how that changes things. Just go down here and we're going to refresh. Ah, and there we go. Does that look similar to what they wanted us to do over here? Let me just resize this. You can have a look there. There you can see if you, and I've got that in bold, have a game that you would like to include in the list, comma, and it goes to the next line. And there we can see it is looking exactly like what they want us to do in 7.1.8. So now we're just going to save everything, know that we are done with our coding, close our website, and grade 12s, that is it for question number 7. That is the last one in this video. Thank you so much for joining me on this. That's your last 20 marks. And I hope you've seen that as we go through this, how simple it can be if you adopt a very simple strategy. Take it one step at a time, do it, save it, tick it off on your paper as well so that you know you have completed that. So thanks so much for joining me. And I'll see you guys in some other videos, but good luck for the exams.